It's so wonderful to see so many people here in Anstey Library. We've started this with Century of Stories back in September. We got local groups together, and from that we invited people in, see if they had family members on the memorial, but we also wanted to find out about people who survived the First World War, what they did afterwards, how it affected them, and also how the village survived during the First World War and what went on. This has all come about because of Century Stories. They contacted us first of all through our website and said, would we like one of their display cabinets? They then contacted and said, could they work with us in any way? We had a thought and thought this might be a way forward. And from that, Helen and Louise came and met with us, and Amanda met with us, and it's just gone from strength to strength. It's something that we would never ever have done without Century Stories. We don't also want to just leave it as Anstey, because obviously there are people who live in Anstey whose families didn't come from Anstey. So we want to put this further afield and hopefully can make it a nationwide.
We didn't know how many people would turn up to the community day, and we had never tried to reach these people before. We didn't know what the uptake would be, and we thought maybe 2 or 3 people an hour throughout the day, but we had over 100 people. The place was buzzing, it was full, and at one point we paused and went, just to hear that chatter, that constant chatter that's not stopping, that's people connecting, and it became a reunion. There were people who travelled from Northampton who used to live here, and there was that sound of, oh, I remember you, and that's what we're trying to keep going now. I think definitely the future of community libraries lies in looking outwards and making partnerships with different groups, particularly heritage lottery groups, where they can help us fund projects that outreach to the whole village, such as the thousands of leaflets they've provided for us, the mail shots and the publicity. And people like Century of Stories have such a big audience that we're just able to reach that many more people.
It's an event day. People are coming in to inquire about their ancestors. Some of them are grandfathers, some of them are fathers, some of them are uncles and any other sort of male relative that could have been fighting in World War I. As Loughborough Library Local Studies volunteers, we were asked by Century Stories to do the research on all the soldiers on the cenotaph at Anstey. There's 111 of them. We did a research on each soldier as we went through. We looked at their ancestry, their families, and also where they lived in Anstey. We also looked at their military history, so what regiment they were joined up with, which one, where the battles were that they took part in. As you can see, the folders are full of 111 soldiers who were on the cenotaph in Anstey. People are coming in and having a look at the research to see whether they can find out anything about their ancestors. We get people coming along and finding out facts about their ancestors they've never known before, and they're actually chatting with each other in it and speaking about their history and their stories, which we would never have heard if they hadn't had an event day like this. People are coming in saying what their granddad said to them and what they were told at their father's knee and things like that, which the stories would be lost if they didn't come in and actually talk to us on days like this. So Century of Stories have actually instigated this, and it's been a real success.
Let me get this right. So you don't know, you never knew each other. No. And you both come here today and you realise that you've got something in common. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, it turns out that we have my great-great-grandfather is our common ancestor. Yeah. That's right, William Palmer, isn't it?
Yeah. And you've never met each other before?
No. Yeah, well, it's fantastic. And I was just looking at the photographs over there and noticed this name that was familiar to me from my family tree, and I was taking a picture of it, and somebody said, oh, I'll photocopy it for you, and then she says, oh, you might know so who's Janet, who's here, who I'd never, she must be related to you. Yeah. How fantastic is that? Yeah, it was really great.
I've got a photo here with my father on after the war. I don't know how I know it's my dad, but it is. Somebody must have told me. It must have been in a different book. But I must know a lot of people on this, but I don't know them because they're, well, my dad he died when he was 52, so he's been dead a long while. So I just wanted to come down and know more about his life, really, in the army or wherever. I don't usually come out on a Wednesday, but because I've had a pacemaker and I'm still out of breath. They're very friendly people and I've met friends, so it's brilliant.